Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Ma'am. Divya, ma'am. Divya, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Shall we start because there are some 70 students have been logged in.
Abhishek, sir. Abhishek, sir. Shall we start?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You can start.
So the 70 members are there already.
Yes, ma'am. We can start.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So good afternoon, one and all. Today we are here in a virtual meet with the speaker, Shri Abhishek Chatterjee ji, a people head from XLRI HRM with over 3 years of leadership experience. Today's session is Get Started with Talent Acquisition. In this session, the SAR is highlighting about how to learn from best field experts and to work on real world problems and developing skills for a long-term career and growth. So over to you, sir. Chatterjee, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for that warm introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday afternoon. So today we'll be discussing about talent acquisition, in particular, what a recruiter does. So one of the major fields in which any fresher like yourself, or even from my side myself, when I started out in human resources, one of the major areas in which I started off was in recruitment and talent acquisition. And from then on, over my last 5 years, I've been going from like working by myself to leading a team to now overseeing the entire function of talent acquisition. So I'll run you through in a very like simple, like I hope you guys enjoy. I will be running you guys through a little bit of a metaphorical journey, a little bit of an allegorical journey of like taking India's favorite pastime sport and connecting it to what talent acquisition is all about. Before I begin again, so like obviously talent acquisition is just one facet of human resources, but it is often touted as the major facet. It is often thought about being the, like if you go into a HR job, 90% of you will be going to a recruitment role. So in that way, this session is very important for you for your future career in human resources and your job journeys as well that you will be encountering whether on campus or off campus. With that, let me present, get started with talent acquisition and overview of HR. I hope everyone is able to see the PPT. Just
Yes.
give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Just go to reactions and give me a thumbs up. One of the things, remember guys, I want this to be very interactive. I want it to be something that like we are all learning as we go along, and I can understand how much you're learning as well, and I can cater to that rather than just like speaking throughout this entire session and just going like, okay, I hope you've understood and everything goes well like that. Okay. So okay, I'm getting a thumbs up. Good. Let's begin. So one of the first things I want to tell you guys about is there's a lot of misconceptions about human resources. You guys would have found it out as well as you have journeyed. One of the basic things is we are taken to be like a caretaker, like you can say like someone who's supposed to feel a lot, who's supposed to empathize a lot. That is there, but that's not entirely what we do. One of the basic problems any company has and industry as overall has is you're here, okay, you have certain understandings, you have certain ideas, everything, okay, but company doesn't know exactly how to utilize you, how to basically make sure that you develop as your company grows as well. So if the company is here and HR is as and you are here, there's an immediate disconnect. You don't know how to best be a person for the company, and the company doesn't know how to make sure you're the best person for it. That's where HR comes in. If I had to define HR, it's about a very robust bridge that is built between a person and an organization. And that's why I've highlighted the person, the individual, as in the picture. An individual can make or break a company. Given enough importance to a role, an individual can make or break a company. And in that regards, human resources is very important. And in all of those journeys, the major element is when you hire a person. For example, like when you got into like the college you're currently in or the school you were previously in, there were interviews, right? There were discussions with principals, vice principals, teachers, and so on. You weren't just taking it for the sake of it. So when you're taken into a company, you need to understand something. You carry the company with you going forward in your life. You carry the school with you going forward in your life. For example, when I got into XLI, I had to cross a number of things. I had to make sure I got a good score. I had to make sure I did a good group discussion. I had to make sure I gave a good interview. I left a good impression on the faculty, the teachers, and the institute. So that like now 5 years on, when I say that like when ma'am introduces me as a alum of XLI, XLI doesn't feel bad that I am allowed to represent them. That's how every company thinks as well. And that's what a talent acquisition person needs to think. That when I'm hiring you for something, we must be proud of you going forward, that you are a representative of our brand, of our organization, of our company. And you help us be better even as we help you be recognized. So I'll start off on a lighter note, I feel. And I'll ask you guys a very simple question. Even as the ODI series just got ended. But before that, I want to do a simple exercise with you guys. How many of you know about Naukri.com? First of all, can someone in the chat tell me what is the meaning of Naukri? Anyone? Okay. Job, work. So has anyone explored Naukri.com? Does anyone know what Naukri.com is? Okay. So one thing you'll understand when you go into the market post your college life. Okay, Nagaraja knows. Good. Naukri.com is actually India's largest job portal. And I'll come to some wonderful facts about it later on in my discussion. There are a lot of job portals, okay, that are there. Okay, I hope you guys can take a sneak peek of that. So, like when a recruiter like myself looks for people, they often post about jobs on Naukri.com. For example, like suppose I'm looking for someone in talent acquisition. Then I'll post a job about talent acquisition, recruitment, recruiter, analytics, people analyst, data analyst, marketing, digital marketing. So these are the kind of jobs I would be posting if I'm looking for that kind of person. And I would expect people to apply for it and so on. So one simple question. Do you know which of these keywords? Okay, first of all, like I hope you guys know what keywords are. So keywords are basically what is used when you want to do searches better. So when you're searching, suppose talent acquisition, when you're searching, suppose recruitment on Naukri.com. Again, I hope you guys can take a sneak peek of what was in the presentation. So I'm going to ask you a question. Which of these keywords do you think gets the most results? Anyone in the chat? Okay, 2 people have mentioned. Who else? Just showing you guys again. Anyone else, guys? I can only see 2 replies so far. Others also try. Guys, let's make this interactive. Okay, so one person said recruitment, one person said marketing. Okay, let me come to the results. So I'm wondering if someone saw it or not, but okay. So recruitment is actually the correct answer. So recruitment has over 1 lakh results. So there are over 1 lakh jobs in recruitment right now, closely followed by recruiter, and then it's marketing. So it's very interesting to know that like marketing as a function as a whole has lesser number of job hits than recruitment, which is not even the complete thing of human resources. So recruitment having that many hits shows us yes a very good number of people in the market who are looking for recruiters. And then when I come to freshers, right now out of that 1 lakh jobs, 13,000 are recruiters. So 13,000 are freshers that people are looking for as recruiters. Yes, one like tidbit I want to give you guys, which is you can see on data analyst, even though there are 46,000 overall jobs, there are almost 18,000 overall like results for freshers. Why is that the case? Can anyone tell me why out of every 3 jobs for data analyst, 1 job is for a fresher, but in everything else almost it's like 10 jobs, 1 job is for a fresher? Can anyone tell me why the case is? Why data analyst in particular is having that kind of a ratio? Okay, Sri Raksha is saying potential person will be about data analyst. So actually you're coming very close to the answer. But then why would like out of every 10 jobs in recruitment, only 1%, one of you be eligible? But out of every 3, 1 of you is eligible. Like is there a difference between everything else and data analysts? Okay, Sri Raksha comes very close to the answer. So it's because when you guys move from the campus to the corporate life, you guys will be trusted more with data than with people. Everything else is about people. You're actually talking with people, you're actually connecting with people and everything. Data analysis is about just reviewing, giving your insights on data. So you will be trusted more with data than with people. And as you grow up in your career more and more, you will see that your like your ability to measure data, to give insights will decrease. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be the person who will review the insights that come from data and connect with the people as you grow up in the organization and in your career. You will, so it's very important that you start off with a very strong base in data, and then you move forward to becoming more comfortable with people. That's why data analyst is having a higher threshold in terms of freshers. Now let me come to the next thing. And this is going to be an interesting thing. Can anyone tell me who this person is? Is Virat Kohli, the Indian cricket captain. So I have one question for you guys. Would you open your bowling with him? Would you, like, for example, if you're supposed to like ball now, would you open your bowling with him? What's your answer, guys? Like, would you open your bowling with him? Okay, Jadav says yes. Anyone else? So the answer is no. Even though a lot of people are saying yes, the answer is no. Because he's not a good bowler. Virat Kohli is not a good bowler. Virat Kohli is a good batsman. So you need to understand the difference. Virat Kohli can be a good cricketer, but he might not be a good bowler. So if I had to choose tomorrow between Virat Kohli and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, okay, or even like some other random bowler who's not that good, I would actually go with that bowler over Virat Kohli, because Virat Kohli is good as a batsman. He will not be as good as a bowler. So that's why I wouldn't open my bowling with him. Like in general, obviously in special situations I might open, but in general I will not open my bowling with him. So the first thing you need to understand is, Natarajan, like also, yes, better choice. So the first thing you need to understand is role. What is your role? Okay, in the team, in the organization, Virat Kohli role is to be a good batsman in the team. So that's what he's supposed to be doing. Okay. So that you will understand role very well. Just give me a second. So in that regard, so the first thing you need to understand is role. Sira, Jadeja, there are better options as well. So now let's come to the next part. Like, why is it's very important that you understand hiring very well. Look around you. When you build a team on fantasy or anywhere, like even when you're building a project team that you're going to be working with, you always look at everyone's strengths and weaknesses when you're building a team, so that the best team is made. If you follow football, right now there's always a debate between Lionel Messi and Ronaldo as to who is the greatest player of all time. But would either of them be someone you choose as a goalkeeper? No, you choose someone else. There are much better goal. Even like, for example, our goalkeeper Gurpreet is much better than Lionel Messi or Ronaldo as a goalkeeper. So understanding role is very important. So if suppose you're removing Kohli from the team, you wouldn't bring a bowler in, you would bring a batsman in to replace him. So that's the very important thing about role. And this is going to be very critical for you when you become a recruiter. You need to understand what the role is. The second thing, as you can see from the cartoon, which is a very humorous representation of what goes wrong in recruitment sometimes and in general in companies, as we are part of a startup culture nowadays and everyone is supposed to bring their own ideas. For example, when like ma'am or any other teacher talks with you guys in class, or even when I am talking right now, I expect you guys to give me your ideas as well, your thoughts, your questions while I'm having a conversation. That's how a conversation works, right? So we don't want, like, when, especially when you're in a startup culture, you want new ideas to come true. So you don't need people who are just agreeing with you all the time, who are just saying yes, okay, or being silent. So culture, what kind of person you want is very important. And from the cartoon, you can see that like he's got the wrong culture, that person. He's trying to make sure that he doesn't have everyone who just agrees with him, but that's exactly what he's done. And that's one of the biggest things recruiters need to guard against. So I've given you two of the three pillars of good recruitment. One is understand the role. Second is align with the culture. Okay, role, culture. So let me come to the understand. And before I come to the third part, and sometimes it's often the most important part of companies, let me give you a good idea about what are the benefits of having good talent acquisition in your company or in your organization. What happens if you're a good talent acquisition person as well? So why is talent acquisition important? First of all, finding and hiring the right people. Okay, the right people, basically people who align with the culture and who are fitting the roles we are looking for in the company. That helps you make sure the company succeeds in the future. That's one very important part, because remember, as I mentioned the first, if you put an individual at an important place in the company, they can make or break the company. And remember, if you find someone who's not that good, they can spoil the entire company. Okay, they can make sure that the entire company has poor productivity. They can make sure the other people are also thinking like, if you hired this wrong person, then why was I hired? Was I also wrong? Then you need to be very careful you're not hiring wrong people. And that's one of the things that every recruiter needs to guard against. And now the crucial difference between talent acquisition and recruitment, okay, is about recruitment is just about hiring a person. Okay, no frills, no problems, just hiring a person. You have this requirement, you need to hire this person, you get them on board. But talent acquisition is much more. Talent acquisition is all about understanding the big picture. For example, how many students should be in the college next year? When the teacher, when the principal sit down and plan out how many students should be there in the college next year, that is talent acquisition. Versus should this student be part of the college, that is recruitment. So without talent acquisition, there is no recruitment. And if you don't follow through with recruitment, talent acquisition doesn't make sense. So if the like faculty or the management says next year we should have 250 students in the college, now how to get the 250 people, what all you need to do, what all you need to check, that is becoming part of recruitment. And obviously like this student will have to grow to the next stage, next stage, all those come inside talent acquisition. And in companies as well, like if you hire someone, will that person reach this level in 5 years? That's also something you need to check during interview process. And when you combine everything, okay, it's less about just like saying that we need 5 people and we hire 5 people. It's about making sure that you hire 5 people who make the company better, who make themselves better. it combines to make a very good environment for everyone. As I mentioned at the start, we need to hire people who would be good for the company, for the school, for the institution. That becomes the crucial step towards the success of the company and the individual. And obviously, if you hire someone good, they will give you good value as well. They will make sure that you, like right now, suppose you paid like X amount for this person to join the company. In time, they should be able to give you 2x value back. And they actually become part of what makes a company better in value as well. So now let's come to the third part, and for that I have an interesting exercise. Look at this like page very carefully and note down something. Okay, we'll be doing an exercise. So Virat Kohli, okay, as I mentioned at the start, he is also the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Anyone who follows IPL here, like give me a thumbs up. So Virat Kohli is the Royal Challengers Bangalore captain. And now IPL auction would have happened by now, but still let's think that is still on. And Virat Kohli has said he needs 2 players in the team to make it better for the next year. He needs a very good batsman, value 10 to 15 lakhs. Remember this, note this down. A very good batsman between 10 to 15 lakhs and a decent bowler 4 to 7 lakhs. Again, note it down. Good batsman 10 to 15, decent bowler 4 to 7 lakhs. And the budget that the person has going into the auction is 20 lakhs. There are 3 values here. Remember these things, because this is the third pillar we are talking about, which is about budget. How much money do you have to spend on the person while hiring them? So I hope everyone has noted this down. I'll just give like 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay. Everyone's noted down? Give me a thumbs up if you noted it. Or just say yes in the chat. Then I'll move forward. Okay, good. Thanks, Deva. So let's move forward. I'll give you 4 choices, okay? What you have to do is figure out which 2 people you will be buying for Virat. The first is Rohit Sharma. He's an opening batsman at 12 lakhs. The second is Rishabh Pant. He's a middle order batsman at 7 lakhs. The third is Yuzvendra Chahal. He's a 10 lakhs bowler, leg break. And finally, it's Mohammad Siraj. He's coming in at 5 lakhs. He's a fast medium bowler. So my question to all of you is, which 2 players would you choose as per what Virat Kohli, your captain, wants? I hope it's visible. Okay, Rahul says Rohit and Chahal. Anyone else? There are 2 players, not just one, remember. You need to give me 2 players. Sriaksha says Siraj and Chahal. Remember, you need a good bowler, okay? And a decent bowler and a good batsman. What were the things? Rohit and Chahal, okay. Rohit and Siraj. Okay, so Shashank has gotten the correct answer. It's Rohit and Siraj. So can anyone, like Shashank, can you just like give a little bit of an idea about like why you said that? before I come to it. Like I'll give an idea, and yes, it is Rohit and Shiraj. That's the correct answer, Shashank. And yes, Rahul also mentioning. So, okay. Why Shashank is correct, I'll tell you. Let's go back, guys. Let's go back to the previous slide. We had 20 lakhs. So remember, the two players you're buying cannot go above 20 lakhs in value. What is the second condition? Is that you need a good batsman between 10 to 15 lakhs. Rohit was 12 lakhs. You need a decent bowler between 4 to 7 lakhs. Shiraj was 5 lakhs. So all conditions are met. Why every other combination doesn't work is because if you get Chahal and Shiraj, you're getting two bowlers. You're not supposed to get that. Kohli didn't want that. If you're getting Rohit and Chahal, you're going above the budget. If you're getting, even if you're going for Pant and Chahal, you're actually doing it reverse. You're doing the wrong thing. You're getting a very good bowler and a decent batsman. So that's not what Rohit wanted. So you need to be very careful while hiring because your budget is going to be limited. You do not have endless budget. You don't have endless money to spend. So you cannot get the best of everything. You need to be very selective on how you're hiring people. Thanks, Shashank. Thanks, Rahul. Correct answers. Good. And Shashank mentioned yes. Rohit is good batsman. Shiraj is decent bowler. So these are the three pillars. Okay, guys, which you need to keep in mind while you're looking at hiring people. Okay. Can anyone just tell me what are the three pillars I talked about? There were two pillars before, and now I added one more. Can anyone tell me what are the three pillars of good hiring that everyone needs to look at? Let's see how much you've been paying attention. Yes. What are the three pillars, guys, that I talked about so far? I'll then move on to recruitment as a process as a whole. And don't worry, we're not leaving Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli or RCB behind. Right now, I said budget. What were the first two? Okay. So the three pillars are role. What does the person do? Second is culture. Third is budget. So now let's look at the recruitment process, which is very important when it comes to hiring someone. Okay. So I'll go step by step. There are 7 steps to good talent acquisition with a specialty in recruitment. The first is identify the hiring need. So what do I mean by identify the hiring need? And remember back then when I asked you to get a good batsman and a decent bowler, that is hiring need. Is basically saying that what kind of people I need in my team, in my organization, in my institute, in my school, in my college going forward. That's called identifying the hiring need. So as I said, like you're Virat Kohli and your team needs a good batsman. You ask your manager to make sure they go for a good batsman in the auction, which was Rohit Sharma in the previous exercise. So that's hiring need. So that is something that is not defined by you as a recruiter, but that's defined by the hiring managers, the people who need this kind of people in the team. Now you say, okay, understood, like good batsman. But what do you mean by good batsman? Like you are not supposed to know what a good batsman is, right? Just like that. Like I cannot tell you like what a good batsman is like that. There are a lot of good batsmen in the world. So that's where job description comes in. What do you mean by good batsman? when you give a hiring need, what do you mean by that? So then I asked Virat Kohli or like a coach, you said a good batsman. So do you need an opener? Do you need someone who's good at like just like hitting the ball out in the middle overs, a middle order hitter like Yusuf Pathan or Rishabh Pant? Do you need someone who's Indian or someone who's coming from overseas? Do you need someone who's played a lot of Test cricket, a lot of ODI cricket, a lot of T20 cricket? What kind of batsman do I need? So when you're looking at these things, for example, like you need to have a checklist. Okay, when you as a recruiter, you need to have a checklist that okay, good. So if I need to figure out what are the things I need from a person, what are things I should ask the manager, the person who's giving me this requirement. So if tomorrow I say I need a good human resources like management student, okay, in my team, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by if I say tomorrow I want a good human resources manager? So that's where you need the job description checklist. So what all should be there in a good job description? So you can see the main things. So the first thing is company name and description. Obviously, it needs to be there. What is the name of the company? What do they do? Then what are the core values? What are the values of the company? Then what are the benefits offered? For example, how much money are we offering? What else are we offering? Do we offer parking? Do we offer like you can like travel from home to office and we'll like give you the money for that? Do we offer those things? Do we offer medical insurance? A lot of things are there. Compensation in terms of benefits, which are money based and not money based. Then where are you going to work out of? Location. What is my job title going to be? Human resources manager. Which department will be a part of? Human resources. Then this is something internally you need to know. How much does the industry pay for me? Like if suppose tomorrow I know human resource manager in the industry, in the other companies in the world gets paid X amount. How much am I paying for this position as opposed to that X amount? Then what am I supposed to do every day? Then this is very important. What is the background I should have? Should I be looking at someone who has 5 years of work experience? 5 years of work experience after passing out of like suppose a master's, a bachelor's, all this. So all this that will be there in the job description. So I won't be doing an exercise of you guys making a job description here because it's a very complicated process often. But it's a good thing to know that this checklist should be there always in your mind while making a good job description. And as a recruiter, this will become very important because you will be pushing this outside to the world for everyone to see. Because you want people to apply to the jobs, right? If they don't know what like you're offering them as a role, what you're telling them that they'll be doing every day, then it becomes very difficult for people to apply to it. Okay, now good. You know what, like for example, I'll come back to Virat Kohli. He wanted a good batsman. He told me what kind of a good batsman he wants. So now you search, where do I find this good batsman that he's talking about? Unfortunately for Virat, like actually fortunately for Virat Kohli and for RCB, he can just go to an auction and just pick up a good batsman at a certain price. We as recruiters don't have that luxury. There's not a one place where everyone comes in, okay, like an auction where you can just bid and get someone. You need to search for them across a lot of places. And I'm showing you some of the portals that you need to understand very well as a hiring, like a recruiter, as a talent acquisition person. That places you need to understand very well when you get into this job. I mentioned Naukri.com at the top. There are other portals like TimesJob, Monster India, Jobs Ahead, Shine, Indeed. A lot of places are there where you will be pushing your job description into the market, into the open place where people will look at it and say, this is a good place, like this is a role I'm looking for, I should apply for this. So some numbers I want to tell you guys. Today, right now, if you search India in keywords on Naukri.com, you will get over 4 lakh open jobs. Every day, recruiters like my team and other people are searching more than 7 lakh like searches in the Naukri database. Just searching that, like, okay, these are the people who have their like resume, who have their file on Naukri.com, that they're looking for a job. These are the kind of people I'm looking for. These are the kind of people I'm looking for. And out of the hiring that happens, out of every like 5 jobs that are filled, 3 of them are filled by people like you, recruiters, who are searching for the people that they want to hire. So it's very important you get your resume on this if you're looking for a job, and it's very important you search on this if you're looking for a person to hire. So this is very important for everyone, whether you're looking for a job or whether you're searching for someone to hire. So, okay, good. Everything has worked out. You found at least 20 or 30 people you want to hire. Now, next, what do you do? You make sure that you find out who are the best out of those 20 people. So there are 2 stages in which this happens. Okay, first of all, you find out like whether this person is fitting the job description I asked for. Because I'll tell you something I've learned in my life as well. Just because you've given a good job description does not mean everyone who's applying to it is actually fulfilling the job description. Like, for example, if tomorrow I ask like you guys to go for an internship, okay, and there might be a like some random person might just apply, and he or she might not even be a student anymore, and I might have mentioned that I only want students who are currently there, who are currently students. So then as an HR recruiter, I need to make sure that anyone who's wrongly applied to it and who's not fitting my profile are actually taken out of the process. So suppose in 20 people, I got like 16 people who are actually fitting the profile, and 4 people I had to took out. Now what? Like everyone is job description, everyone is fulfilling. So should I hire everyone? That wouldn't work, right? Again, remember the 3 pillars: role, budget, and culture. So now you look at whether or not they're fulfilling the role Virat Kohli is asking them to do. So now you sit down with the batsmen, like you have selected the 16 batsmen, and you interview them. Obviously, you as an HR, you as a recruiter cannot interview them because you are not very confident in knowing what exactly Virat Kohli or the coach wants. So then who should interview? Virat Kohli, right? Virat Kohli should be interviewing them. The coaches should be interviewing them. So then the coach and Virat Kohli sit down and interview that person. Like, how much T20 cricket have you played? Have you played in the IPL before? Have you played in tournaments before? What type of role? Are you good as an opener? Are you good as a middle order batsman? So we look at whether or not you're fitting this like role that you were looking for. And then Virat, coach, they all interview just like 15, 16 people and tell us who is the best. So like moving away from Virat Kohli and coming to the normal job roles we look at. So one of the responsibility of an HR is making sure they evaluate. Okay, they check what is the score being given in everything. So this is one interview template. You can see like I'm checking whether that person is good at communication, whether the person is good at problem solving, whether that person actually manages conflict. A lot of things are there. And when I check all this, I figure out what the score Virat Kohli and the coach are giving them. So like suppose tomorrow I have a person, like 2 people who Virat Kohli and the coach have selected based on their interview. I need to figure out who's the better person. Then I look at the score that has been given. Is there a difference of score? So that's what evaluation is all about. And then finally, you offer them a job. So like it should be simple now, right? But this is where the pesky thing called budget comes in, and maybe even culture. That person might be asking for 20 lakhs. You have only 10. What will you do? So you need to become a very good negotiator, okay? You need to understand how much we can offer them, how much we can check with them, that like would they accept this. And it's a very to and fro sometimes. and you need to understand certain things about negotiation. How much do you need this person? Is there someone else you can hire for this position who's coming in the lower pay? Or is this the one person who's standing out from everyone and you need to get them? One thing you need to check. Second, can you offer them things beyond just the budget? Can you offer them like good things, like a lot of like you can like join the company at whatever time you like. You can like you don't have to go 8.5 hours every day to the company. We can let you work from home. A lot of things are there which a recruiter might be offering that person, so that that person joins, but joins at a lower salary which is matching the budget. Know your ceiling. This is where the budget comes in. Remember, if you have in your company 3 people at the same position who are earning like suppose 10 lakhs and you give this person 20 lakhs, you're creating a very big problem for the company, because now you made it like these 4 people are there, 3 people are getting 10 lakhs, one person is getting 20 lakhs, but all of them do the same thing. That's one thing you should always be careful about. And finally, if everything fails, you need to know when to walk away. Okay, this guy is not asking, like this person is not like agreeing to what I'm saying. Okay, let me look at another person. You cannot keep on discussing this forever. Remember, because that Virat Kohli would have needed this batsman before the IPL. You can't keep discussing till the IPL gets over, and even that person might actually go away because they get another offer. So you need to become a very good negotiator as a recruiter. And finally, if everything has gone well, you introduce that person and that person joins the team and it's a welcome to the team and everyone is happy. You make sure that person knows the company, knows who are they reporting to, who they're connecting with every day. And all of this is very important because this comes under onboarding, which is something talent acquisition covers as well. So this is the entire recruitment cycle. I hope you got a good idea about what like I'm talking about. So again, while I won't be covering this because it's just an introduction, there's a lot of things in talent acquisition that you need to understand, which is recruitment is just 10% of it. What I just told you guys is mostly just 10% of what you do in talent acquisition. If you build a career in this, then there's a lot of things you will need to understand. You need to understand how to make the process better. You need to make sure you understand the law of the land, the rules, the legalities of things. Can I pay like this much to this person? What should be the like taxes I should be filling for this person as part of a company? Then you need to review, can I make this process better by analyzing the data? Can I check out that Naukri is giving me better candidates than Indeed? Then I should invest money in Naukri to get more candidates. Or should I actually look to bring in someone from the outside? There are a lot of like, so one of the roles you can do in talent acquisition is consultant role, which is someone who actually knows the market very well and helps companies hire. They're not part of the company, but they help the company a lot. So that's one thing, which is outsourcing or advisory, where external people are telling you how to do things better. And then is employment branding, which is basically, for example, if a restaurant wants to hire a good chef, it can't be just give a good like job posting and everything will be good, right? They need to showcase that they're a good restaurant, they're the world-class restaurant. They are out of 10 restaurants that do the same thing, they stand out. And that is where branding comes in. You showcase that you're a great place to work. Basically, there's actually a rating system of this in like called great places to work, and I would like you guys to explore that and see what are the things that are like looked at, because that becomes very important for you guys as recruiters to show that your company is better than others. So employment branding is very important. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, whatever we are talking about, you will only do after you get a job in recruitment, right? So let me give you guys a good idea about what this entire function of talent acquisition looks at from a job angle, from a salary angle. So there are a lot of well-paid careers, and I'll show you the life cycle of how a person can be in talent acquisition. So you can either be part of a company as a recruiter, as a talent acquisition, or you can build your own company as a talent acquisition, talent consultancy, where you advise companies who to hire. Both ways are very good ways, and a lot of people have gotten successes to both of them. As a fresher, if you're joining a company, how much can you expect? It can be anything between 2.5 lakhs to 4.5 lakhs per year that you will be getting, based on where you're coming from, how much knowledge you've done, how well you do in the interview. And then over time, you will get more and more money as time goes on. You will go from 2.5 to 5, 10, 15, 20. And once you hit the entire function, you can actually get from 80 lakhs to 1.5 crore per year in big companies like HUL or Pepsi and all those companies. The like person who's heading this function, they get around like over 1 crore per year. So some of the different roles you can actually look at if you go into talent acquisition include recruitment consultancy. As I mentioned, you build your own company and advise companies who to hire. Then you can start off as a recruiter. You can start off as a sourcer. But remember, I told you guys about talent search. Okay, talent search is a very well defined science. Okay, and a lot of people are hired just to actually find people, not even hire them, find those 20 individuals we're looking at. That those positions are called sourcers. And in big companies, there are a lot of people who are working as sourcers, who are finding the people. They're not hiring them, they're just finding them. Then obviously you can become a talent acquisition specialist, move into talent acquisition manager role where you're leading a team. Then you become a talent acquisition head where you're leading multiple teams. And finally, you can become a chief hiring officer, or you can become a CHRO, a chief human resources officer of the company. So there's a lot of good journeys that are there. And obviously, once we get into Q&As, you can ask me like, what is the starting point to where I can go if I'm looking to make a career out of this. So with that, I want to bring my session to a close. I want to say thank you to everyone who participated in the exercises, everyone who like responded to what I'm asking, and hopefully all of you guys got a good idea about what is there in talent acquisition. So now we can move into Q&A. Thank you. Good to see a lot of support for like Kohli and RCB in the chat. So now guys, you can if you have a question, you can raise your hand. I can see Abad has already raised. You will be unmuted. Please make sure you do not like create any interruptions for the others. So Abad, what's your question? Anu, we can let them unmute. I think.
Yes, Abhishek.
Students, fill the forms. Students, fill up the forms. Enter your attendance.
You can either unmute yourself and ask a question, or you can ask a question in the chat window itself, whichever is comfortable for you. Anyone has any question? Abad, you're like raising your hand. So like, do you have a question? If anyone has a question and doesn't want to ask verbally, they can mention it in the chat window. You can ask me about anything from human resources, recruitment. So Abad is asking about mobile number. Like, so Abad, like, can you just ask me like, what is the question that you have? What do you want to ask me? You can ask me about human resources, recruitment, and working in multinational corporations and startups. So Abad, I'll be sharing my details at the end of the discussion. So you can just like record it. Anyone has any questions? Everything is clear, like you understood everything. Yeah. So guys, again, as Gita ma'am is saying, like please fill up the attendance. That will help us understand what the feedback is, and also in case of any connections, we can like check back with you on that. You can ask me any questions you want regarding human resources recruitment, working in MNCs, startups, any questions you want. There's a whole world to explore once you guys get out of college. And like having been part of on your side 4 to 5 years back, I will tell you there's a lot to learn. So like as you guys give the questions, I'll tell you a little bit about my journey. So I did my engineering from Kolkata a long time back. Now it feels around 2013. I completed my MBA, completed my engineering. Then I worked a bit. Then I went to XLI, which is one of the best college, best business schools for human resources. After that, I worked in a company called Intellect Design as an analyst, and that was where I started with recruitment. So I was actually in a role of sourcer. So I was finding people and then scheduling interviews for them. That's where I started off. Then after like 1 year, I got promoted to assistant manager, and I started taking care of like global projects. So our company was around 5,000 people with like employees based out of USA, Canada, Europe, a lot of places. So I was doing global projects again, and then I moved. So I was based out of Chennai at that time. Then I moved to Bangalore to join an edutech company, and there I worked as a talent acquisition head for South. So I would hire teachers, I would hire students, I would hire principals. So those were the main things I was doing, and there I was leading a team of 14 people. So I went from assistant manager to manager role, and now I've joined Skilling India, that we are all discussing right now, as a head for HR, where I'm leading the human resources team and also leading the talent acquisition team as well, where I have managers reporting to me. So it's been an interesting journey where I've checked out talent acquisition and multiple places, where I've been at the ground level to where I've been looking at the big picture and defining everything. So I hope like a lot of you guys get to have a similar journey if you're interested in it. Guys, remember culture comes from within, guys. So one of the things you need to make sure is, and which I tell my team as well, is better to ask silly questions now, because there are nothing called silly questions at this stage of your career. When you're starting out, when you're still a student, you should always ask questions. There's nothing called silly questions in when you're a student. It's only when you understand which are the questions that you need to ask later on that you become better, because otherwise you will do a silly question when you're much more senior in life, and at that point it becomes very difficult. So don't worry, you can like, don't be embarrassed, don't be frightened. Whatever questions are there in your mind. Okay. So Shirakshi is mentioning what are domain skills to be mentioned in job descriptions. So in terms of domain skills, so like in general, like you wouldn't mention domain skills particularly. So remember, we basically call them competencies actually in the recruitment like sphere. So as I showed you in the job description template, job interview template, so there are things like are you good at handling conflicts, are you good at handling multiple tasks? Because remember, when you're actually part of a company, you will be doing 5-6 things at the same time. So are you good at handling those things? Have you done it before, either in job or in your classes? So for example, you guys will have like 6-7 subjects you're currently studying, and you're studying all of them at the same time. It's not like you can prioritize one thing over the other, right? Similar things will happen to you in the job. You will get 7-8 things you will be doing, and you need to make sure that you're making progress in each of those. So some of the main things that are like very important. And remember, because you're hiring for a lot of positions, every position has different things that they need to be doing. So some of the basic things are communication. Do you show that you're owning a project, you're delivering, you're managing your time very well, you're able to talk with a lot of people and get things done. So those are some of the domain skills or some of the competencies we are looking at when we are hiring someone good. Are they flexible? Do they have are they very resilient in terms of like getting things done, making sure problems come up and they solve those problems? So those are some of the domain skills you can mention in the job description, Shiraksha. Thanks for the question. I hope it answered it. Again, it's very general. Remember, like if you're looking for someone like a manager, you will have different things where you might want to stress more on leadership versus you're looking for someone who's more junior, who, like for example, for yourself, I wouldn't be looking for you to have managed 10-15 people, right? If I'm hiring Shiraksha, I will look more at like what she's done in college, whether or not that fits into what role I'm looking for that person in the company as well. So that's why I ask you guys, and I'll ask you guys to do a lot in college as well. You'll find a lot of things you can talk about in the interview. Don't just stick to studies, make yourself well-rounded. Obviously, studies is important. Getting a good like academic score is very important as well. So I hope you balance it out. Anyone else has any more questions? Thanks, Shirasha, for the question. Anyone else? Never stop learning, guys. Even right now, I'm learning. On the other side, you have to learn as well. It will never stop till you stop working. And even then, who knows? There are new things you learn every day. I hope everyone has filled the attendance form. Anyone who's still pending, please fill it. Anu, can you just like share the link again? Yep. So the link is in the chat. Make sure you fill up the attendance.